I'm sorry, but like, I still think that was a Freudian slip.
You think Vito Freudian slipped? He's obviously talking about
Yes.
we as a society, not pedophiles.
I think it was a Freudian slip.
It's
Aiden
funny
has
to
only
think
known-
that because Vito defends cuties and shit all the time, right? So it's funny to think he had a Freudian slip, but I don't actually think that happened.
Bro,
I don't know. Okay, I don't have a picture of the whole thread, but I have each individual tweet.
Having basic empathy for non-offending pedophiles will ultimately lead to less child abuse. The fact that this take is controversial is a sad reminder that we still live in an intellectual dark age.
Okay, so that's his take.
What does
Then this guy
non-offending
replies.
mean? Never touched a kid? Never looked at CP? If you're into kids, there is only one solution. Then Vito says, non-offending means that we understand breaking the laws is a no-no.
Okay, so I Need Ethereum is speaking about non-offending pedophiles. He ends the sentence particularly saying, if you are into kids, there's only one solution, which I'm assuming he means like execution or something, whatever. If you're into kids, there's only one solution. He's speaking about non-offending pedophiles. Vito also is speaking about non-offending pedophiles. Nowhere in here does he mention society. He's not like, we as a society need to have empathy for non-offending pedophiles. The subject of the sentence is non-offending pedophiles. So when someone says, what does non-offending mean? That you've never touched a kid or you've never looked at CP? If you're into kids, there's only one solution. Then when he
Right.
says non-offending means that we understand breaking the existing laws is a no-no, he's still speaking of that subject. So obviously, like I said, he could just switch it to be like, well, I meant we as a society. And maybe it was just a misspeak. But in this context, that we is referencing non-offending pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's referencing. I don't think that there's any other way to interpret that.
I don't know. I mean, the problem with this is I see what you're saying, but I also see what I'm saying. I can totally read this as him just being like, that means we understand that breaking laws is a no. Like we as in like, yeah, like we all like as society. But I also see what you're saying. I don't know. I'm choosing the more charitable route because I like Vito, honestly. I think he's funny.
Yeah. No, same. But I just, and also another thing, what the fuck does he mean? Non-offending means that we understand breaking the existing laws is a no-no. What? Can someone clarify what that means? What is the existing
that sounds
laws?
Weird.
That's what he says.
Is he? Because that implies that he wants to change it or something, right?
Or that it could be changed. And if it was changed, then it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
That I will agree with is weird.
Because, like, this is the thing I'm thinking. And he was in the reply saying stuff like this. Someone was like, what do you mean the existing laws? And then he was like, no one would ever care to change the laws. That was his response. He wasn't like, oh, I think the laws should stay the same. And I think that they're perfectly valid. And I think that it helps, like, you know, no one under 18 should be, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Someone was like, what do you mean the existing laws? Like, what if those laws were not existing anymore? And he's like, they'll never go away.
Mm-hmm.
That was his response. What do you mean they'll never go away? You don't think that would ever, like, possibly change, especially if it was normalized?
Yeah.
What do you mean the existing laws?
Well, Vito,
should just be-
the whole problem with Vito's argument altogether is that it operates under the premise that we know for a fact being nice to like non-offending pedophiles means that less kids will get raped. Vito seems to think that that's just like fact, and we all know this, and we choose to ignore it because it's more fun to be mean to pedophiles or something like that, right? We don't know if we lived in Vito's society, that would be better. He seems to
There's
think,
no
like,
evidence for that.
Yeah, he seems to be convinced that like being nice to them will ultimately lead to less kids getting raped, but we don't know that. But he seems to think that we do.
And it's also like, so what do you mean by having a basic empathy? Like, is it fine for them to, like, if someone comes out and they're like, I'm a non-offending pedophile, like, I am sexually attracted to kids. What do you mean empathy? Does that mean just letting them function normally in society around children, but then just giving them therapy? Is that, like, that's the extent of it?
Right.
Like, what do you mean empathy? What does empathy mean?
Yeah.
So there's so much wrong with this that he's just like pulling out of his ass for something like pedophilia, which is fucking weird. And also speaking about only existing laws, which is like, and then he'll be like, those will never change. He's speaking about changing the entirety of like how society views something, and also saying the laws will never change. Isn't anything that used to be stigmatized become legalized? I mean, gay marriage used to be stigmatized and now it's legal.
Yeah.
Right?
And very few
So it's
people
like-
are against it. now. Even the people
Yeah.
that are, they aren't like vehemently disgusted by it. Whereas, you know,
Yeah, and I'm not
like 50
trying to
years
say-
ago, they were running
Yeah.
ads like about how being gay is like a mental disease. You know, they would like run ads like that on like TV because that's what society thought. Nowadays, it's much different.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say like pedophilia and gay is the same. All I'm saying is that things can be stigmatized and then normalized, and laws can change around it. Even things that are wrongfully stigmatized. I don't think though that pedophilia is wrongfully stigmatized at all.
Right. We do have a pretty adverse reaction to them. But the difference between our adverse reaction to them and our adverse reaction to other things that are now normal is that with pedophilia, there's a pretty clear reason why we are. You know what I mean? Like, nobody can really argue it unless they sympathize with pedophiles. Or are pedophiles, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I don't know, that whole thread, even without the "we," is terrible. That makes me think that it was a little bit of a Freudian slip.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Dude, did you see the shit that he was saying? The shit that he was saying to Keemstar is pretty fucking bad.
Well, he was obviously like going on hinge mode there. Or something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He was like, "You got caught dating a 14-year-old," and here's the evidence. And he showed a picture of him and his girlfriend lying about the fucking age. He wasn't being serious, by the way. He was joking, and I genuinely think he was. I don't think it was a good joke. But then Keemstar apparently got his fucking lawyer involved, right? And his lawyer contacted Vito and told Vito to remove the tweets, right? And then Vito told Keemstar. Keemstar was like talking shit after Vito removed the tweets. He was like, "Man, after my lawyers got involved, he bowed down like a bitch." And then Vito was like, "My lawyers said if I sucked or if you sucked my dick or something, I would remove the tweets or something like that." And he's just such a fucking asshole.
That is so terrible.
Fucking Tech just uploaded.
Hey guys, this video.
What? Wait a minute. Wait, I was expecting this to be a fucking joke. Huh? Oh no. Wait, what the fuck? Dog, you can't just fucking troll me like that. What the fuck? Taking accountability, Pixel Drink. Oh no. Is this new? It's uploaded 10 minutes ago. Alright. I'm sorry, guys. Tomorrow morning, we're going into the Pixel Drink stuff. I've avoided it for too long. We need to go in and figure out what the deal is here. Wait, what vid dropped? Tech's brother, I guess, took accountability. So a video came out by some people in my community. They like researched and put together a video where they interview a girl who accused Tech's brother of rape, and also like other things, underage like relationships and stuff like that. Of which I think he was accused of multiple. I know at least one he was accused of, but I think there was like another one too, but I might be wrong about that. But either way, there was like, I don't know, he got accused of a bunch of shit, and he just uploaded a video titled "Taking Accountability." Now, I don't think he's taking accountability for everything, because I think he disagrees with like the underage relationship one. Like, I think the allegation is that he dated a 15-year-old while he was 20, but he was like, well, no, she was 17. But by the way, if that's true, then that means, by the way, that remember when I debated Tech and I was arguing with Tech and Tech was like, "You're a pedo because you think 1815 is okay." If he said that, meanwhile his fucking brother was dating a fucking 17-year-old while he was 20, the exact same fucking age difference, if he knew what his brother did, but then tried to call me a fucking pedo for saying 1815 is okay, that just shows how much of a fucking scumbag Tech is. You know what I mean? So it's like, if his brother, it's again, another situation where if Tech's brother is telling the truth, then it makes Tech's own words sound so bad. Download the vid? Yeah, actually, unironically. That Pixel Drink video is going to be ironic. Well, it just proves what I've been trying to tell you guys. I tell people this all the time, and they don't fucking listen. Tech it's not a situation, that debate wasn't a situation where me and Tech can just agree to disagree or something like that. First of all, even if that was the case, the thing that me and Tech disagree on is so like important and great. You can't just agree to disagree on whether or not like Zero deserves to come back or not. You're disagreeing on important shit. That's not something that you can really, you know what I mean? But like the other detail of that is Tech is lying. He's a fucking liar. He's a dishonest, bad actor and bad narrator. Tech lies, guys. He doesn't just say things because he thinks it's the truth or something. He says some things he says that he thinks are the truth that are not. But other things he just fucking lies about. Like, he is comfortable. He is somebody who's comfortable being a fucking liar, which is why I don't like Tech and don't think the bridge could ever be, like, restored with him, because he's a bad actor. And I try to explain this to people. I try to tell this to people, and they don't listen, or they forget. That's the difference. That's why Tech is bad. And I pointed out multiple lies. I even pointed them out to his fucking face. You know? Do you guys understand? So, I mean, that's why the Tech bridge will never be rebuilt. Because he's not a good person. The shit that he does to Zaptai, for instance, right? Like, that is... People will say, like, oh, it makes sense for Tech to go after Zaptai because of what Yell said about his brother. Really? It's far easier to criticize Tech's brother than it is to criticize Zaptai. You know what I mean? Criticizing Zaptai is a scumbag move. This is a guy who had his fucking life and career ruined by the internet, by untrue allegations. And Tech's gonna try to like bring that up and make this guy like relive his fucking hell just to try to own people on the internet that disagree with him on a Zero take? That's psychotic. You guys understand that, right? And I have people that try to tell me that Tech isn't like that level of a bad guy or something, right? And they're like, well, you know, I disagree with Tech, but he's not a bad guy. What do you mean he's not a bad guy? Look at what he did to fucking Zaptai. Is that not evidence enough? Does that not tell you that this guy's, I don't know, maybe a little bit malicious? Even if you ignore the lies, like, it's still fucking unhinged what he did. Even if you ignore the lies. But then when you factor in the lies, it just ties it all together. He's not a good person, you know? To sum up the response video, he admitted to the drawings of the minors and sharing news of himself, claiming he had been going to therapy for a year and a half, denies the accusations of rape and fucking a 15-year-old when he was over the age. Dude, he claims he's going to therapy for a year and a half, I guess because of the nudes thing, given like the structure of the sentence, right? I thought the nudes thing in the group chat was he was doing that as like a joke. Why would he have to go to therapy over a joke? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh, I said my cock in that chat just to troll. Just because it's such an outrageous thing to do. I did it as shock humor. Okay, then why would you have to go to therapy? He did say it was shock value. Well, do you go to therapy over being into shock value? Is that something that happens? I don't think so. Shock therapy? Is your idea, if your idea of shock humor is sending your penis to kids, you should go to therapy? I mean, I guess. But I don't, therapy implies that you're doing it for a different reason, right? I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like. By the way, it is possible that it is fucking shock value. I'm not denying that at all. I can totally see why. Because I know people that actually do find shock value in doing stuff like that, right? But generally, if your humor is going to be exposing yourself to people, first of all, you got to make sure the people you're doing it to are fine with that. You know what I mean? You can't just do that randomly, because that's sexual harassment, right? But you also got to make sure you're not doing it to fucking kids, right? So it's totally possible that he does it for shock, or he did it for shock value. It's just like fucking retarded that he did that around kids. Even if you don't think, even if you're a 19-year-old and you do not feel like you have any difference to like underage kids, because there are 19-year-olds that are like, you know, technically I'm a teenager, right? Or sorry, technically I'm an adult, but I still feel like a kid. There's 19-year-olds that feel more in common with 13-year-olds than they do with like 25-year-olds. You know what I mean? You still don't expose yourself to fucking kids. You know, even if you don't feel like there's much of a difference between you and a kid, you still don't do it because you know the fucking law. You know that that's generally a fucking bad thing to do. Right? That's fucking common sense. That's the thing. He said he was doing it for a joke, but then he went to therapy and realized how fucked up it was. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, that kind of makes sense. By the way, I know for a fact, so apparently some of my mods like are fucking like spying in Pixel Drink's server, which is just fucking crazy if you think about it, right? So when that video released on Pixel Drink, what ended up happening was the mods apparently freaked the fuck out, watched it, and then instantly turned on Pixel, and then created their own Discord server and started freaking out about it. All while like my mods are like just watching this fucking happen. And I'm just sitting, and they infiltrated the new server too. So apparently his entire fucking mod team like turned on him instantly. And he started like freaking out on the server. He's like, I'll have a response soon. I'm worried. I'm freaking out right now. I don't know how to respond to this. So it was like a total shitstorm as the moment the video came out.
Aiden, I'm curious, are you like anarchist now? Is that what this is? You're like, I don't want to have a military. I just want to have like a huge militia for a country to like. Is that what this like meme is?
Yeah, I guess you could consider me anarchist.
So you know what the difference is between like a government fighting its own people and a foreign government fighting a country is, right?
Yes.
So the biggest difference between that is, like, let's say theoretically, like, for some reason Biden just decided, you know what? Fuck all these right-wing people. We're just going to declare like a civil war. Like, we want to take back the country. If he wanted to do that, you'd obviously have to do that through means of warfare. By the way, I completely agree with you with guns. Like, you should arm yourself against the government. But in anarchy, what's going to stop, like, China, for example, from just being like, you know what? Let's just fucking bomb the whole country. Let's just nuke America. Why don't we just fucking nuke them? Why don't we just come in with planes and bomb the fuck out of them? They don't need to engage in guerrilla warfare. Why don't we just come and just fucking BTFO this little militia that they've got? They don't have a military system.
America's huge. What part of America are they gonna nuke?
Anywhere? Anywhere on there? You know that Biden, like, in this theoretical, if Biden decided to go schizo, he can't just come in and, like, bomb his own country. Because then he's just fucking himself.
Why would China nuke the country? If
fuck us,
there's no more government, if there's no more government to go against China, like,
yeah, they just own us.
Besides invasion, what interest does China have here? If they nuke the whole country, then that kind of takes invasion, like, it kind of makes invasion a bit of a problem.
Not really. You just blow up the country, let it settle after everyone fucking
let it settle.
Loses. Yeah. What can you not go to Japan anymore? Can you not go to Japan anymore? Is Japan just uninhabitable now?
With the amount of the bombs they dropped on Japan,
Hiroshima like uninhabitable now?
Killed like 400,000 in total, like with the two cities combined. Right, there are 300 million people in this country. So with the amount of bombs they would need to drop to take care of all 300 million people, the fucking radioactivity.
You don't need to kill every single person in the country.
Okay, and as proven by somewhere like Cuba, as long as there are still fucking 20 people left with the drive to take over a country, and obviously, we'll still have allies.
You're going against
like Taiwan.
Okay, but you're going against Cuba Cuba military and what, supported by U.S. Like, as if U.S. military support has ever really given a fuck about like foreign countries like that.
We hate commies. We didn't want commies taking over the country, so we supplied.
Yeah, well, what about Vietnam? That was.
Yeah, we lost there, and that was literally like a bunch of fucking farmers with AK-47.
Yeah, but the point is, if you wanted to just come in and just, you don't need to engage in guerrilla warfare, and if you're trying to just take over a country, you don't need to do that. Like, China wouldn't come in and send troops on land to fight our guns. They would just bomb us. Like, the theoretical of like defending yourself against your own government does apply to that, because it's not like Biden would just come and bomb his own country. He would have to engage in guerrilla warfare to like move people around or whatever. Like, that's how you would do it to your own country. But if it came to a foreign country, you don't have to. This guerrilla warfare concept that you're coming up with just wouldn't be a thing. You would just bomb them, even if it's not nukes.
A better example. Are you aware of what the Utah Wars are?
The Utah Wars. Well, explain it.
Basically, the Mormons tried to secede from the Union because, like, initially the Mormons were like based out of initially
Why?
the Mormons were based out of New York. Well, initially the Mormons were based out of New York, but they were being persecuted and killed because, like, a lot of people felt like their interpretation of the Bible was like completely wrong. And Joseph Smith, like the leader, got assassinated. So then this other guy, Brigham Young, like took everybody out to the middle of nowhere because they felt like that's the only place they'd be safe, an uninhabited like wasteland, which is that state. And then after that, they settled and they built like Salt Lake City and everything. And James Buchanan, who was the president at the time, eventually said, "Hey, we want that land now." So the U.S. military marched up to fight these like only if it was not that many people, but all these Mormons like up in the mountains of Utah. I think they sent like a huge amount of troops out there, and guess who came out victorious? The fucking Mormons over the U.S. military.
And then, so why isn't Utah?
Buchanan had to like become like a fucking bitch and like make a deal with them.
That was guerrilla warfare, right? So why isn't Utah like a Mormon country right now? Why isn't what happened? Why is it part of U.S.
Because they made a compromise that said they'd be allowed to practice their religion and stay a part of the Union. So then they had no problem with remaining a part of the Union.
Okay, so yeah, that's guerrilla warfare. I'm not disagreeing with you on guerrilla warfare, but if what's his name? You said I don't know enough about what you said. James Buchanan was president. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, but if James Buchanan decided to just drop a bunch of bombs on the mountains where the Mormons are, I mean, what are they gonna do?
Cope.
He's obviously not gonna hit the.
Cope.
Okay, do you think
they're just gonna cope? But
do you think if you just like drop a nuke, instantly the whole fucking military is taken out?
I will say
the whole point of a guerrilla military is they're not centralized in one location. They're spread out. You don't know where they are. They're not wearing uniforms. You don't know where they are.
Yeah, but you have an advantage when you're coming in from they're in a state of like wreckage and you're coming in from like, you know, it's obviously still guerrilla warfare. Like I said, if it's your own country, like if you're fighting your own country, I was agreeing with you. Like for defending yourself against your own country in guerrilla warfare, it makes sense. But if United States theoretically just became pure anarchists, we had no military. First of all, you'd have to hope that everyone agreed. Yeah, good fucking luck with that. Like there's no fucking way that a bunch of armed militia with no fucking government in America would ever agree with each other. And we'd just all be like, yeah, you know, let's just not just kill each other constantly. That's, first of all, that's number one. Number two, we don't have a large government group of military that is like all coordinated like we have right now if we're anarchists. And this large government group can't properly like defend ourselves, can't properly like counterattack. You know, we can't do stuff like that because we're just all scattered everywhere. It's just random like tarred militia. The only way we win is as we're basically Native Americans with guns. That's literally it.
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
I mean, how would that wouldn't function in the modern world?
Well, who's gonna? Okay, if we're just basically Native Americans with guns, explain to me like reasonable scenarios where like okay, what motivation would China have to bomb us if we have no government anymore?
I mean, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if they would need to bomb us because China just has enough organized government manpower that they would eventually overthrow even guerrilla warfare. Probably, they don't need to nuke us.
Look at Taiwan. If they want to take Taiwan back, they want to take Hong Kong back.
Yeah,
those places are doing pretty. Those places are.
Well, you know, with Hong Kong,
holding back the Chinese military.
You know, with Hong Kong, they just released the virus to stop people from.
That's not Hong Kong. That's fucking Wuhan, dumbass.
No, that was. You remember what? Do you remember the timing of Hong Kong? Like when everything was going on with that?
Yeah.
What time was that? Do you remember?
Wait, are you espousing conspiracy theories in this broadcast?
Wait a minute. Hold on. You think they released COVID? Hold on. You mean to tell me you think that they released an unstable bioweapon to take down the people in Hong Kong?
Why not? That's a pretty interesting theory.
The equivalent of shooting yourself as well. You can't.
No, China's doing great in COVID numbers. Are you kidding? China has like no.
And how's Hong
COVID at all?
Kong doing?
They're completely subdued.
Did Aiden seriously forget about? I never forgot about the Hong Kong protests. I just don't think that a bioweapon was released to stop them.
Why not? Is that like such a crazy concept? Like immediately, like the following months when Hong Kong was like fighting
dipping into
back.
conspiracy though?
the concept of a bioweapon is not crazy within itself. I mean, the U.S. literally put millions of dollars of research into it.
You asked how Hong Kong is doing. I think they're doing pretty good in China's terms. I think they're pretty subdued. I think everyone forgot about what happened, and like, yeah.
China still doesn't have control over Hong Kong though, which is what they want, right?
But they're not. I mean, they could easily like push it now because people like lost that like what's it called? That like fight that was going on. It's
So
like
why haven't
over.
they?
I mean, maybe they're just waiting. I don't know. This obviously is like some long-term plan. I'm not China, so I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's completely theoretically possible. They could have just been like, yeah, you know what? It's time to release the bioweapon, and then they just win.
Do you not think there's more effective ways that don't risk, like, don't you think like a bioweapon's a bit too unstable, like by releasing it?
I mean, maybe, but it won. I mean, maybe, but it
I don't think
worked.
China cares, and Connor's,
It
Connor's
yeah.
theoretical. I don't think
China's
China would
in
give a
control.
fuck.
They haven't gained control. It's only been like a year and a half. This is like obviously
when
some
they do gain
long-term plan.
control, when they do gain control, I'll admit that I'm wrong. But until they do, you can't definitively say they won.
I mean, yeah, I think that they are winning.
Okay, that's a
And
fair
it's theoretical.
statement, but you can't say that they've won until they've actually taken it over. And when they do, or if they do, then I'll, admit I'm wrong.
Yeah. They did it to distract. Yeah, I mean, that's also another thing. It's like, it becomes like the whole focus of our entire world instead of people rising up against government power.
Also, do people really not think China's getting fucked by COVID? It obviously is getting fucked by COVID. They're like, oh, but look at all these like low case numbers. You think fucking China's gonna be
I don't think China's honest, but I also think them being dishonest is good for them. It's not like they have to be honest. This is the thing, like me and Augie talked about this the other day, like there's like a bunch of riots and stuff going on in like Kazakhstan, right?
Oh, that
Like that's where, yeah. And I think he told me, I don't know if this is true, I don't even know if he knows it's true for sure, but I think he told me he heard someone say that they were like protesting over like gas prices or something. That's why they were so upset. But this is the thing. Do you not think that that's a manipulation? That you're being told that they're protesting over gas prices?
Obviously, but what's happening right now in Kazakhstan, it's not just gas prices. It's multiple things that have led up to this, but they basically essentially believe that the president is corrupt and he's been benefiting the elite within the country.
Right.
And
so it's not gas prices, right? But and I'm not saying that you're trying to
related
pursue
to
this.
it. That's one of the reasons.
But and when the headline or the main thing that people hear is gas prices, they're not going to be like if you were to hear Kazakhstan people are rioting over corrupt elites who are like fucking over the people and they're winning. If you were in the US and you heard that, you'd be like, huh, interesting. Wow, that's an interesting concept. They're actually able to like take over the government over corrupt elites and win. But if you hear random tards in Kazakhstan are mad at gas prices, so they're malding.
Who gives a fuck?
Who cares? You're gonna be like, why?
Why do they give that much of a shit? We have bad gas prices here. Who gives a shit?
That's
the American reaction.
Yeah, that's the American reaction to that. So they don't like. The point of that is saying like media doesn't want like to pursue like
they
this
don't want
idea
to promote the idea that people can rise up against shithole governments. You know why?
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna shit on Biden.
Chill. Time out. Wait.
The
stream's gone.
No, but literally, like,
But
that's the same thing for like
actually,
China.
yes.
That's the same thing for China. Is that China's not going to be like, oh, Hong Kong is, or like COVID is ripping us apart. Like they're going to be like, we're doing awesome in COVID. You know what I mean? Like it's all media propaganda, including Kazakhstan riots, almost any riot. Like even I think in Europe sometimes they will like title like riots as like really just cringe reasons, and then you'll just be like, why are people rioting? That's so cringe. Why are you writing over that? That's so cringe. And then it makes you think of writing as cringe, and you don't do it yourself.
Well, it's kind of like the media disregarding ivermectin as horse dewormer when it's actually prescribed for other purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
And effective against COVID.
Yeah.
Well, that's debatable. I'm not saying it's not effective against COVID, but I don't think there's enough research to prove that it is.
What do you mean? Rogan got over in like 2 seconds.
Okay, but you would have to like it wasn't done in like a proper like
but
scientific
it wasn't
setting.
done in a proper
No,
scientific.
in order,
he got
in order
over
to
it.
make in order to make an objective claim that
My
ivermectin-
fucking
Aiden.
empirical
Wait, time
fucking.
out. So it
My
wasn't done in a
empirical
proper.
anecdotal data is better than your scientific horse shit. All right.
Well, this is the thing, okay? It wasn't done in a proper scientific setting, okay? So what do you think a proper who defines a proper scientific setting, and why do you believe it wasn't done in a proper scientific setting when it comes to COVID medication?
Well, obviously people think that like the scientists are lying about the numbers because they work for the government, but there are independent scientists. You don't need to work for the government.
So
to be a
independent
scientist.
scientists will tell you ivermectin works.
Well, have they conducted any studies?
Yes.
I'm sure, yes.
If they can
Yes.
provide me studies,
There's
if
literally
they can
hundreds
provide-
of studies on this.
Okay, send it to me.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, don't send it.
You can take 1 second of research to find ivermectin. Independent scientists. If you want to talk about independent
All right,
scientists, okay.
Aiden, the
You can
problem
take 1
is
second of
it's going to be a
research find
pain in my
them.
cock to find them on Google because Google is literally run by Big Pharma.
Okay.
Yeah, and they but
And
no,
they
you can't find
manipulate
it.
the search results.
Research.
Yeah.
Actually, true.
Why do people make fun of it if you ask somebody for a study? If anybody asked me to like provide a study for something that like I said and didn't,
Well,
want to
you're
take
asking
the
for an
face value,
independent
I'd be
source.
happy to.
Yeah, I mean, you can find. You want to talk about independent scientists? There are plenty of independent scientists. There's also independent scientists who are anti-vax, right? I mean, even who was the guy who just got banned? He was anti-vax
Robert
mandate,
Malone.
right? Yeah, Robert Malone was
Yeah.
completely against the mandate.
I love
and
how
he
you
just
know
got
that.
I
banned
don't
on
think
Twitter.
was he anti-vax though?
I don't know if he was anti-vax, but I know he was definitely anti-mandate. But the point is, there's lots of like
And he's one of the
independent
guys,
scientists.
and he's not even just an independent science. He's an independent scientist. He's one of the guys who literally like helped like invent the fucking mRNA vaccine, and they fucking banned him.
Yeah,
Which Aiden's for, by the way, because he's for censorship.
I'm not for like censorship like by the government. I think if you're a private company, you
What?
can-
It's a private
you're- well,
company.
that's-
How do you know the government was involved? If it's just Twitter deciding that they didn't want Robert Malone on their website.
Okay, that's Twitter's choice.
do you think that the government wasn't involved in that at all? Genuinely.
They probably were, but if Twitter agrees,
So
with the
why do you
government,
think the government should be able to have control over speech in even quote unquote private companies?
I don't think they should be able to go after anybody legally for it, but I think if Twitter and their actual corporation decides, hey, what the government is saying, we agree with it, let's censor this person.
At what point does social media become the public square?
I thought you were anti the government. Why would you allow the government? Wait, what? Why would you allow Twitter
Is
to
Twitter
be
the
influenced by the? If the government's like,
They're
hey,
being influenced by the government.
I think Twitter can be influenced by whoever they want. If I
Okay.
tell them you can't be influenced by the government, then I'm taking the place of the government. I'm telling them
okay.
what
who
they can
gives a
do.
fuck? Twitter's
genuine
Twitter is
question.
the government. They run the world.
No,
They run the world!
Fuck, you sound insane. At what point? At what point?
Apollo affair.
Aiden, question. At what point does social media become the public square?
At what point does social media become the public square?
Yeah.
I
Never.
guess when it receives public funding.
When it receives public funding.
Yeah.
So that's the
But
only
they
thing
do.
that defines
What?
public square.
They do.
So
Does
let's
the tax
say
money go to Twitter?
let's say theoretically speaking, just purely theoretical, every single person in the U.S. is on Twitter, just theoretically, like every person above 13 or whatever is on Twitter and they have a Twitter account, but it's not public funded; it's funded through like private ads. Can Twitter still just ban whoever they want and censor whoever they want?
if they want to.
So that's insane. Like that's
their house.
denial
It's
of
their
free
house.
speech.
It's their
That is
house.
literally the denial of free speech. You're allowing, like, if every person is on Twitter, you should have a free and fair, like, concept of ideas. And if every single person in this theoretical is able to, like, witness these ideas, and you're totally fine with them just, like, morphing and censoring and, like, fucking with the public square, you're pro-censorship.
Twitter doesn't align itself with that. You can still download Parler. Nobody's stopping you from doing that.
But there's not as many people on Parler.
Nobody
Parler's
cares about Parler. Parler's shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so- but you still have an option to talk.
To who? Who can you speak to?
Okay.
places like Parler that align
Aiden.
themselves with those.
But who? Okay, yeah, but you're speaking in an echo chamber. That's
Let's
the point. It's
say
not a
that
fair
that was
place of
true for a
ideas.
second.
The people
It's not a fair
decided.
place
Hold
of
on,
ideas.
hold on.
The people decided they'd
Hold
rather
on.
be on Twitter.
Hold on.
The people
people's choice.
decided.
Hold on. Let's say that what Aiden was saying was true for a second, all right? What do you think would happen if Parler became like a massive, like, let's say Parler was so successful, they actually became more successful than Twitter, and everybody, and it wasn't echo chamber anymore, and everybody moved over to Parler, and Parler was like this great, like, dude, they would set up a fucking firewall in America and fucking ban you from like creating, because everybody says create your own fucking website. Well, if people do create their own websites and the websites get too big, they're just gonna fucking shut down the websites.
You're speaking theoretically, but it actually happened. Do you not remember what happened when Trump got banned on Twitter with Parler?
Oh, I gotta
You
go to
don't
bed
remember?
soon, by the way.
Yeah, it got
Okay.
cut off the App Store.
Yeah, well, it got cut off the App Store, and it got cut off of what even was it? It was that they stopped their domain. I think they stopped the domain of Parler. So it's
Aiden, there's literally leaked documents where they're talking about like changing the fucking internet and taking away the ability to have like an open source free internet where anybody can make their own fucking websites. And you know
people in the
why?
government, too.
They use January 6th as their fucking excuse. They're like,
kinda
we need to change the entire fucking internet and remove the freedom to even make a fucking website because radicals are using their own fucking websites to exchange their ideas. Before it was like, oh, we'll just make your own website. Well, yeah, then they decided to make their own websites, and now that's a fucking problem.
yeah. Now you're not allowed to make your own website because they'll cut off the funding. They'll cut off the hosting. You're not allowed to host on any platforms anymore. PayPal, everything. You're not allowed to take donations because PayPal will ban you.
We're in a pre-firewall in America. Wait until a firewall.
But in your theoretical Aiden, all this is totally fine because all of them are private. PayPal's a private company. Everything's private. So it's totally fine if you try to make your own speech, try to make your own platform, people to listen to you online, and PayPal cuts you off, domain hosting cuts you off. You're not allowed to do it. That to you is totally not censorship. That's totally fine because it's private.
At what point, like, I mean, just like
I think that you shouldn't be banned for speech, even from private companies. Speech shouldn't get you banned.
So if I go on Twitter and I call somebody the N-word in an argument, like,
Who cares?
Why
does that matter?
There's no
It's
justification
speech.
to ban me.
It
No,
doesn't. Who cares?
Who cares? Who gives a fuck? You're some random tard. Why would it? Who gives a shit?
What if I go on Twitter and I post somebody's address and tell people to go kill them?
Who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares? You fucking.
Okay, this is the thing.
You can't
If
go
you
to an
can-
airport and yell bomb.
Okay, if this is the thing, the only time you can make exceptions for things, if you wanted to make exceptions for rules, you're
threats of
speaking in a
violence?
theoretical. Yeah, threats of violence. But you're speaking in a theoretical of like, I'm saying, hey, an entire group of people, Trump supporters, millions of people, tried to transfer to a different platform, and they were banned and stopped from doing it. And you're like, well, what if I wanted to post someone's address? That's the theoretical you're comparing that to. You're trying
really
to
what I
justify.
sound like?
Yeah. You're trying to
That voice,
justify.
huh?
Yes, you're trying to justify. You're trying to justify the banning of millions of people, like switching over to a public like a social media platform, by being like, well, I could just post someone's address then, and that's cool. So, therefore, I think it's awesome that millions of people got banned from transferring over to Parler. Like, there's no comparison here. Like, that's like such a stupid theoretical. And it doesn't justify what happened there at all.
I'm honestly really fucking tired. I don't know what you're saying.
Oh my god! I
The
think
weed
I was
kicked
pretty
in.
clear, right? Wasn't that clear? Did I say that wrong?
You got owned.
Well, no, I don't want to bullshit. I unironically wasn't paying attention. I mean,
Okay.
I get where you're
the-
coming from, but I'm exhausted.
Oh my god. So your theoretical is one random tard posting your address, and you're comparing that theoretical to Parler getting taken off of domain websites and being like not allowed to be funded by PayPal and et cetera, and millions of people were denied that social media.
Aiden loves censorship when it benefits his side. What do you mean? If they fucking censored the commies, I wouldn't fucking.
Oh, then you'd have an issue with it.
No, I wouldn't. They can
What?
literally, dude. They
What if they
censored.
said, wait.
Twitter censored me. I'm suspended on
But
Twitter.
no, you got
Don't
banned
I have
by
more of a-
No,
You got banned because you told somebody to like kill themselves or something.
You got banned by Mr. Bong, dude. You didn't get fucking banned by fucking the government.
I got banned because I said to a pedophile who threatened to come to my house. I said, if quote unquote, if you come to my house, I'll throw hands. That's literally what I said. I got banned.
You got banned because he false flagged you, not because fucking the government decided that your speech wasn't good and they fucking funded and told Twitter to take you off the fucking platform. That's not the same thing.
Okay, but if I was truly only doing it when it like benefited me, wouldn't I be advocating?
What if? Tell me if Twitter decided to just ban everyone who speaks about anarchy. First of all, would you not be suspicious of that? Because why are they banning anarchists? And second of all, you'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Why do they suddenly care about this? Obviously, they're threatened by them.
No, just asking it, and like, how would you feel about that? That'd be fine to you.
If people were promoting anarchy through, I guess, respectable like means, I don't know. I guess no, I'm not. I mean, I'm fine with it.
No, not just Twitter. Facebook bans it. YouTube bans it. You can't speak about it on YouTube. Let's see. Every platform at the same time, conveniently, all bans speak of anarchy, but they're all private. So, and you wouldn't feel any type of way about that. That'd be just totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just how brain dead. And also the fact that you don't think there's any like government motivation behind that is insane. Like you don't think that the simultaneous banning of multiple people like across multiple platforms, like Donald Trump getting banned on Twitter, Facebook, multiple platforms all at the same time.
It's obviously politically motivated.
So yeah, there's political and government motivation behind these quote unquote private platforms.
How can you be anti-government but then allow that?
How can I be anti-government and then allow that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's political and government motivation behind banning and censoring people on quote-unquote private platforms.
So wait, hold on. So what you're trying to say is if I'm anti-government and I don't...
You're supporting the government influencing private companies to ban and censor people.
5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You're not anarchist. You love the government. You love government power and censorship then.
No, well, hold on. I'm trying to word this in my head. I'm really fucking tired. If we're talking, hold on.
Just admit that you love the government and government censorship. That's it. Just admit you love the government and government censorship.
Okay. I know exactly how to word this. Okay.
Okay.
If we're talking, in my ideal world, there would be no government, right? So I don't support the government saying that to Twitter and telling them what to do if I don't support the government inherently. In my world, the government won't be able to do that because I don't believe in a government, right? But while we do have a government, I do believe. I don't fucking care, honestly, if a private company wants to ban somebody that says the N-word. I really don't care enough. What I care, I don't have like enough.
We're not talking about the N-word. We're not talking about someone saying the N-word. We're talking about
sharing vaccine information or what. I guess I don't have enough investment in Twitter and like the rights of Twitter to like. There are just so many more pressing issues to me. I haven't like done enough research on this.
Okay, so you're saying in your pure hypothetical where there's no government and it's totally just only exclusively private companies that you wouldn't care, which, okay, but that's not reality. The reality is that the government is influencing private companies to censor and ban people. And to get to your theoretical, you can't be in support of that. How would you even like transfer like the government away from like existing by also being totally fine with them influencing Twitter to ban people? Well, I guess like if you actually believe what you believe.
I guess I wouldn't say I support it. I guess I say I'm not like actively like opposing it.
You should, because speech is the best way to get people to do things. Speech is how you get people to like believe your ideas.
Well, I have to do more research before I oppose it. There are other issues that I'm concerning myself with right now. But I mean, if it's
none of those issues matter if you can't speak about it.
I guess.
Speech should be the number one thing that you focus on, because then you can transfer all your other ideas through free speech. If free speech is fucked, it doesn't matter what you think about fucking abortion or fucking anything else, because you can't speak about it.
Okay. Where do you stand on Marxism being taught in schools? Do you think, like, by that logic, like, it's okay for, like, Marxism to be taught in schools?
What do you, like, to what extent?
Like
What
to
is-
have
what do
like
you mean
to have like
Marxism?
or like even like open class discussions where there are like some people promoting it, some people.
I think it's fine if you speak about multiple different things, as long as it's not just like Marxism is awesome. They don't speak about anything else. It's totally fine to just present the idea of Marxism.
Yeah, that's the
You're
same
cons-
thing I
okay.
answered the question on.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to see where you stood on it because Indiana, the GOP in Indiana is trying to propose a bill that it would literally educators would like be arrested if they introduce kids to certain topics, whether they endorsed it or not. If a librarian allowed you to read under like the new bill they're trying to pass, if a librarian allowed you to read like a works that wasn't like approved by the quote unquote new school board, which is made up of 60% parents, 40% educators, then the librarian could face jail time.
What if instead of who'd you say is trying to pass that, the governor?
Or the GOP in Indiana.
The GOP in India. What if instead of the GOP, it was just every like private owner of every library decided to come together and be like, we can't have our kids taught this. And they just decided to do it.
I'll open a new library.
You'll open a new library. Good fucking luck having your fucking like. Good luck having your books being shown to anyone. No one would care. Every other library in the state. And you don't think that they would like go against like your funding? You don't think that they'd try to tackle your funding of like opening a library?
It would be
Really?
like-
You think you could just open a library out of your ass?
They tried to do that. It would be like the Waco of library. We'd
Oh
have
my God.
they tried to do
No.
fuck
You
around
would
and
get
find out.
fucked.
We'd open a library the second the government tries to show up. It'd be
You would get
fucking
fucked
Waco.
in every single way.
At least I'd die fighting for a cause I believed in.
Libraries are public. Yeah, we're speaking about like I guess a private library, like your own thing that you open, like theoretically. It's like a book, like Barnes and Noble or something, whatever. I mean, that's like private.
There's Marxists saying they want to destroy family. What do you mean destroy family? Do you think Marxists are like supervillains? Like, I want to eliminate all babies and fucking. No, they just don't think that like I agree. I don't think that the stereotypical like family role is like it doesn't need to be a thing. I don't think we need to like encourage kids like, oh, the normal path in life is to go and have kids because it's not.
Don't you think that usually produces the best outcome though?
No,
Why not?
We have so many.
You're speaking to someone who was
we have
fucking
so many-
owned as a child.
We have so many. No. Let me tell you the problem. Too many parents are having fucking kids that they don't want, and they're not taking care
Like
of.
him, yeah, that's what I mean.
We have kids. We have kids stuck in the foster system. We have people getting divorced at alarming rates because they're being pressured into relationships that they are not fucking happy in. They're having kids when they truly never even wanted to have kids, and that's how we end up with child abuse. We end up
So
with
we
child
should promote.
abandonment.
We should promote abstinence, right?
If you don't want to have a fucking kid, don't have a kid. I'm not having
We
kids.
should promote abstinence then.
If that's the lifestyle you want to live, I mean,
Well,
more
why
power
not?
to you.
Not just to
Yeah,
an
but why not just
individual. We
be
should
normal?
promote it. We should promote it, right? Because if you promote abstinence, you can have kids, right?
I see headshots in your future.
Or just wear a condom.
Is it that simple? Really? How's that working? How's that working out?
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about condoms. Nobody wants to wear that shit. They fail.
We've been okay. You're saying this about the foster care system. You're not even that off, but haven't they been promoting like condoms and safe sex, etc., for like what?
Nobody
over
wants safe
20
sex.
years. 20 years now. Isn't that a
I
thing?
met a woman. I meet like religious people, like a woman who said like if God wanted us to like wear protection, then God would like make it so I can't keep getting pregnant. And this woman I know, she has 11 kids. They're a Mormon family, but she has 11 kids. And I said, are you planning on stopping? And she said, I'll stop when God wants me to. And
Okay, what does that have to do with anything that we just said now?
These people are fucking nuts.
There are 11 kids. Do you think that those kids are the same example of what you just said, how they're stuck in the foster care and not loved by their family?
I mean,
or are they 11 kids who have two parents who
I don't
raised
think
them?
I honestly don't think you can show like the proper amount of affection and give the proper amount of attention amongst two people to 11 kids. I don't think it's possible.
Well, that's totally different than what you were saying
what?
before.
That's
Those are
not
two
true.
completely different examples. Yeah, I also don't think it's true. I mean, I know one of our families, and when we grew up, he would run what's it called? He ran one of our classes. He had like 9 kids.
And was it the
all of
parents
them-
raising them, or was it the other siblings, the older siblings raising the younger?
Parents.
Because in these big families, these parents have all these fucking kids, and then they expect the older kids who never made that decision to have
They
kids
worked from
to
home,
help
so-
raise to help raise the
Yep.
fucking little ones.
They worked from home, so yeah, it was pretty much the parents raising them, and they all turned out fine. I
Every
know all of
white
them now.
every white couple should have 10 plus kids.
True. Oh my god.
What's wrong with that, Aiden?
Aiden, I have 2 siblings, and we literally raise each other. See, that's the point. Why would
But that's
you have
a
a kid?
fail-
Why
that's-
would you be such a piece of shit that you'd have a kid that you won't
What?
fucking raise?
You're speaking in
What are you
theoretical.
talking about?
You're using
families will, families will have like daughters that will like raise the kids or something, and that's normal. That's how they do things. What do you mean?
No, the daughter's never consented to have a kid. It's the parents that have the kid. The parents.
not exclusive.
You're
Only-
acting like
Okay,
every
Augie,
situation like
this
this
is-
is oppressive. Like they
If
do
you
this.
if you have a kid and you do not raise the kid, you should be fucking killed.
well, you
No,
should
they
raise the kid, obviously.
but like
But just
the daughters
simultaneously
are like,
is what you're trying to mean. You're trying to say simultaneously that they also act as an older sibling to help raise the child.
yeah.
What this person in chat was saying, Augie, though, is that they're like their parents are not there. So, but you're looking at like random anecdotal evidence and being like, well, see, so the family unit is destined to fail. Therefore, we should never have children.
I never
That's what
said
you're doing, Aiden.
I never said we should.
But you're also saying
Well,
it should
tell
not
me
be
when-
it
tell-
should
no,
not be
listen,
normalized to have children. That's what you said earlier,
How
right?
did you get out of everything I've said? How did you pull the statement we shouldn't have children? I said if you
Okay.
don't want to,
But
don't
earlier,
fucking
no.
force yourself to have
Let me
kids.
correct it, because earlier you were like, it shouldn't. I believe you said something along the lines of like it should not be like normalized to have children or something like that. It should not just be like the normal thing where you just have kids or have a family. Is that what you said earlier? Or am I wrong? I just want to make sure that's what.
Hold on. Sorry, I was just reading this chat. Somebody said, "Oh, siblings are so oppressed by their own siblings." Shut the fuck up. When did I ever say siblings are? Are you a fucking moron? Like, I'm convinced that some of you.
This is getting cancerous.
Listen. No. I'm convinced that some of you have a lot more than a parent relationship with your siblings because by how stupid you fucking are, I bet your parents are also your half siblings. Like,
Oh,
No,
listen. Daddy's
Oh my
talking.
God.
Daddy's talking. Daddy's talking. Sit in the back.
okay, you retard.
Jesus.
All right.
AIDS.
Oh,
You-
should.
Are all fucking idiots, and I am right.
Okay. The only thing.
Stop having kids.
That's
stop
your
having,
statement.
Stop having kids that you don't want.
You're
Stop
wrong.
having kids.
Okay.
Stop having kids that you don't want.
Promote abstinence. Promote abstinence. That works.
Okay, if you don't want to have kids, don't have them.
Do you think that promoting abstinence would work and preventing people from having children that they don't want?
I think.
Theoretically, do you think that would work?
Probably yeah, but I don't think that is a good idea because I think it's a natural human function to fuck people, and I don't think you.
So
really-
do you think that like people in the past who like define relationships and like define like sex like as like not engaging in sex for marriage, do you think that they also had similar thoughts that you and I are having right now, such as there's a whole ton of people having kids that they don't want, so how can we properly mandate this in order to have children that are raised functionally and like properly? And you think that they came up with those ideas like not having sex before marriage and
I'm only. By the way, I'm only gonna be here.
Abstinence.
I'm only gonna be here for like 5 more minutes. I was supposed to go to bed like 15 minutes ago.
do you think that's not a possibility?
Do I not think that's a possibility?
Do you not think that's what happened?
Sorry, can you say it one
in
more
the past?
time?
Okay, so in the past, our ancestors defined stuff like rules around like marriage and rules around like sex and abstinence because they also had the same thoughts you and I are having right now, where they're like, there's a bunch of people fucking and having kids who don't want them, and the kids are neglected and fucked over. So we should promote abstinence, and we should promote no sex before marriage, and we should promote this and this and this, and so that way the kids are raised by a proper family that's married, and that way people aren't just fucking and just getting pregnant. Do you think that was like what our ancestors thought and came up with and therefore promoted?
Sorry, hold on. I'm real honestly like I'm really fucking like too tired to comprehend what you're saying. I've
Are
been
you
up
going
since
to bed
yesterday.
at 8?
I've been up since
Oh my
yesterday.
God.
Dude, Augie, I'm functioning on over 24 hours of sleep. The only thing that's kept me up today is my fucking
Left is
Adderall.
bedtime.
Oh my god.
No, it's
Do you think-
wearing off.
Wait, do you think your mom putting you to bed at 8 o'clock is like an example of an oppressive regime?
My mom's not putting me to bed at 8 o'clock. If my mom put me to bed at 8 o'clock, I some of your like fucking gay streams at like 1 in the morning my time. I'm going to bed because I have fucking self-discipline. If you wanna make fun of me for
I
like
have self-discipline.
no, if you wanna make fun of me for like going to bed at like a,
But you have self-discipline, but
I
you
have-
stayed up all night last night. What the fuck are you talking about self-discipline? You're stupid.
I was studying and I was studying. I couldn't
Studying what?
study.
It's
Marxism?
it's the first week of school. What the fuck are you studying? What are you talking about?
I'm behind in chem.
Oh, I forgot you have like an 8% in your class or something.
Yeah, he's only gone to class like once, like last semester.
I'm trying to do better. That's why I'm trying to go to bed. So like,
Okay, well go to bed then. Stop talking on the internet about fucking anarchism, you card. How is that helping you? How is that being better? Go to bed.
It's a lot better than like it's a lot better than what the other people my age do. Just fucking sexting girls all night.
You just smoke weed all night. You smoke weed all night.
Yeah, but at least
Honestly,
I don't sell
Aiden, I think you gain more doing what they're doing.
at least,
I think
no,
you
at
gain
least-
more doing what they're doing than studying
you're-
Marxism.
So you're a sellout now? You're promoting me like selling my soul to women?
What?
How is
Go to bed.
what?
Go to bed.
See, all these men. Listen. Here's the real problem in our society. It's the women. These men. They fucking.
Didn't you
base
just
their
say
whole
that
li-
people who are feminists are like, or people
I
who are
changed my
anti-feminists
mind.
are cringe?
I changed my mind. Susan B. Anthony's the biggest terrorist ever. I'm an
Okay.
authoritarian. Guys. I'm 16. I moved to the other end of the spectrum. I'm an authoritarian now.
Wait.
So yeah. See Cal. Good night.
Okay.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm really
All right.
fucking
See you later,
tired.
man.
So yeah.
Ah. The youth.
Good one.
dude. This is
The
the
youth.
youth of America.
Dude, it's over. It's over. So yeah, I don't know. Some people might in the chat were like understanding what I was saying, but some people were confused. I feel like, let me clarify. Some people, I don't know why there's this stigma around like history and like historical thought and historical like philosophy, that people think people in history were just like really fucking stupid. Like they couldn't comprehend like larger concepts.
Yeah.
So I was saying like the groups of people who promote like abstinence and promote like no sex before marriage, like they can obviously, they're not just like fucking stupid. They
Like,
obviously
oh.
were witnessing. We just pulled this out of our ass for no reason. They obviously were witnessing
our
something.
culture has only become sexual nowadays. Like, of course not.
They were witnessing something that was happening back then. They were still human in just the same way. And they were still able to like interpret the world. And they were seeing, hey, there's a lot of fucking sex going on. A lot of people getting pregnant. A lot of children growing up to be like neglected and terrible. So what can we do to like stop this? And they would promote abstinence and no sex for marriage. And obviously in a lot of places in history, before there was other ideas, when a group of people would come up with an idea, that was like the only thing that happened. Like if like a small country decided to be like, we're going to promote abstinence, then abstinence would be the sole thing promoted everywhere. Nowadays in America, you can't like promote abstinence because there's also like every other thing being promoted at the same time. But like back then it'd be like, let's promote abstinence. And then that'd be the only thing the country does. And then it would like relatively work. But yeah, like someone said promoting abstinence isn't realistic. Yeah, it wouldn't happen. You cannot promote it nowadays. There's too much information, too much other opinions, too much other shit. Like especially in a country like America, it would never work. Anyone who tries to say that you can promote an abstinence in America is probably
Retarded.
wrong and retarded, because it would never work.
Yeah.
But for like small, like theoretically, if other ideas never came to the table and everyone in America just only knew abstinence, it would obviously prevent children from being born who are not wanted. That would just obviously work. So back then women had no choice but to be obedient. I also think that if in this theoretical, that the woman would also agree with it. They would think to themselves and they'd be like, yeah, that's true. I think that I mean, if theoretically the entire country is on this side, like that's the only idea that they know, then they'd also agree with it, and therefore children would be born unwanted.
Yeah.
So society is too complex now. Yeah, it's we live in an information age where there's just so much information constantly. I don't know if humans were ever meant to interpret this much information, where there's just a constant flux of information just at all times. You're just constantly like fueled with different opinions, random people's opinions, huge government opinions, like government mandates, like you're just constantly fucking fueled with this shit. Back in the day, like not even that long ago, maybe even 100 years ago, all you would know for information is like what fucking old man Joe told you on the street and like the newspaper.
Yeah, or what fucking, yeah, the only thing you gave a fuck about back in the day was like, oh, I bet it's Sunday, I better go to church, and you know, what's Charlene doing tonight or something? You know what I mean? Like that's all you gave a fuck about, right? You weren't thinking about like world affairs, because I mean, if you would hear about shit like a million years or million fucking, you know, hours after it already happened. So it's like, I mean, yeah, you can think about it, but it doesn't really like matter to you, like your small town, like, you know, your relevant interests in your small town life, you know?
Yeah. So even then, like a government, like a small town government could promote something like, hey, let's all engage in abstinence. And there wouldn't be a bunch of information like, go fuck and just wear a condom when you're having sex. Like
well,
that
yeah, there
wouldn't
wasn't
even,
like
that wouldn't
porn or
even
anything like back
there wasn't
then.
porn.
The
there wasn't
society
anything.
wasn't so like fucking sex obsessed like it is nowadays.
And also not
nowadays
even
you
just
can't
sex
escape
obsessed,
sex. You go on Twitter and you see fucking nudity like instantly. You can't avoid it. You know?
Yeah, that's true. But not even just sex, just information in general. Like even just an information that's like, oh, you can fuck with a condom and therefore you can like experience the pleasure or whatever. Like back then, if you had like a small town and the government was like, you know, or the mayor was like, you know what, we're just gonna only teach our kids abstinence here. You literally could, and it would work because there isn't like all that other information.
Right.
But I mean, obviously there will be some outliers, but you know, overall it would work.
Mm-hmm.
So
you want to play a game?
There was porn back then. If you, oh my god,
nobody cares.
Does
about
this guy
porn.
think about? Does this guy think that the porn in like 1920 is the same as 2022?
Dude,
do you
back
actually
then,
think it's the same extent?
Dude, back then people were like jerking off to like
it's
like
not the same as now,
ankles
obviously. Yeah,
or
but it's
something.
not even.
Nowadays
but
people are
he's-
like jerking off to like 30, 60-year-old men like fucking like shaving their balls, or it's a weird shit, you know what I mean? Or like animals or something. Like nowadays people are
They're
like
jerking off the furry porn.
yeah, exactly. You know, like
Okay. No, this is the thing. People are like, well, obviously it's different. Dude, the extent of difference is insane. The extent of difference is so fucking monstrously insane. It's not just like, well, before they were jerking off to titties, and now they're jerking off to 2 sets of titties instead of 1. No, they were jerking off to like 1 naked woman, and that was it.
She might not
and
even
now
have been
people
naked.
masturbate. Yeah, like 1 lewd picture of a woman, and that was it. That was enough for
That was like,
their
oh,
entire.
shit.
That was enough for their entire life. They would never have to go any farther. They would just exclusively look at 1 picture of a naked woman. Now it's like 5 furries with fucking 6 cocks each, like
Pissing in each other's
jerking
mouths.
pissing each other's mouths, and like telling each other that they're fucking.
Yeah, they're like those
fags.
old like
That's
Indian like gods or something that have like 20 hands, but instead of hands they have like cocks.
Yeah, they all have like 10 cocks each.
Yeah.
And they're all like fucking each other's. There's like cocks going in their fucking nose and ears and shit.
Yeah,
And it's like,
and
and
people
they're
are
all
like,
coming
"Wow,
inside,
this is so hot."
and they're like eating each other too. Like it's in their like they're boring each
Boring
other,
each
like consuming.
There's like cum everywhere.
Yeah, there's just like cum black. That's what people jerk off to now, right?
Yeah.
That's what people come. And you guys are like, what the fuck? Stop! It exists. That's real.
Yeah,
that's real.
what
We're
people,
not
and that's what
joking.
people like. They don't like that fucking
This isn't a
vanilla shit
joke.
anymore. It's because their brains are so like fucking like degenerate because of all the fucking porn they watch. They need to watch weirder and weirder shit to get off.
Yeah, we're not even joking. Like this is serious. We're not just like we're coming up with this because it's retarded. Like it is actually.
It is
genuine.
retarded, but that's because our
Pyrocynical.
brains aren't fucking melted by porn like everybody else is.
Pyrocynical messaging, even if they weren't underage, messaging that person. I'm gonna like fart on you, and it's gonna be so awesome. You want to smell my stinky, smelly farts in my underpits, and sending pictures of giant, fat, fucking ugly, like dragons. Imagine showing someone from 1920 that.
Yeah, if you showed somebody from 1920 the weird fucked up porn that like Justin Wang will retweet every now and again, they would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're a fucking heathen. You're a degenerate to society and you need to be fucking killed. That's what they would say.
Literally, even like the normie, any person would be like, you should be
Yeah.
executed for this.
Yeah, normies would say that, not radicals.
Normies would
The
be like, you should
radicals
be
would
killed.
actually kill you.
Yeah. And that was like 100 years ago. That wasn't even that long.
Yeah, not even that long
Maybe,
ago.
maybe
Honestly,
even like maybe even 40 years ago.
40 years ago, it would probably be the same fucking reaction. Smaggles,
Yeah.
they'd be like, I'm hard. Yeah, no. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. They would fucking kill you.
Yeah. They'd probably be into people from the past were weird. Though the extent of people from the past being weird was like the Romans fucking men. That was as far as it
That was
went.
as far as it would go. Just general like fucking people
just
in the
gay
ass.
sex. That was
Yeah.
as far as it went.
Nowadays,
there
people are
wasn't
having like fucking insane like orgies with like fucking, you know, with pain and like
Farts
BDSM and like fucking tying people up and fucking beating people with this shit and slave play and stuff like that. You know, although maybe some slave play happened back then too. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's the other weird thing they did. That's the only other thing that existed back then was like fucking yeah, people would like fuck
the point
slaves.
is, and also the normalization of it, that's also the difference.
Yeah.
Like maybe these people are like, well, the people in power had weird fucking fantasies. Yeah, but that's because they were fueled with like constant power and like constant, like they had the ability, they weren't on the internet, but they had the ability to like create weird sexual fantasies and like fulfill them.
Yeah.
So like people are probably giving like anecdotal cases of like, well, there's this one leader who was a fucking total freak. What about this leader who's a total freak? Yeah, that's because they're in a position of power and they could like make women like dress up in like elephant costumes or whatever the fuck. It doesn't fucking matter. They could do whatever. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted. A normie would not have that power or not even have that knowledge. They wouldn't even have that fantasy. It would just be like sex. So that's the extent
Yeah,
of
if
it.
you ever want to have weird sex as a normie, you just never even thought about that and that never even happened.
Yeah. So people are like, well, what about this leader? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they probably were fucking freaks because they had a lot of power to engage in their sexual fantasies. And that's what the internet provides normies power to engage in weird, twisted sexual fantasies.
Yeah.
It gives you that power.
Exactly.
So they wouldn't have the power to do it. They'd probably still think about it. How would they even conceptualize something like that? That's the thing. They don't even conceptualize like.
Yeah, where are
weird
they learning this
degeneracy like that.
information from? They're not doing it. Their friends aren't doing it. They're not reading about it, you know? Like they're
Because
not,
it's private.
yeah, exactly. Maybe theoretically some random person in like some like medieval village would think like, I wonder what would happen if someone had a giant elephant cock and rammed my asshole until I couldn't feel things anymore. And, like, maybe somebody could have imagined that.
No, but what happened?
They wouldn't get pleasure from it. They wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you know?
No, they would. What they get pleasure from is they would just go fuck the woman that are there. That's it. They just go
Yeah,
fuck the
exactly.
woman.
You know?
They would just go have sex with a woman.
Yeah.
That's it. Eunuchs existed.
I
That was a
wonder-
power imbalance. Eunuchs are a power imbalance. It's because they were forced by power to be eunuchs. That's what I'm saying. So whenever power is involved, now the power to engage in weird sexual fantasies is so normalized to every person on the earth, or every person in the first world, rather.
Stardust is on the kill stream. It's not even live.
The male urge to impregnate a woman over and over again. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Furries existed in the 1200s. Okay, dude, you can probably find 10 furries ever in the entire fucking history of the world. Go to Twitter, you'll find 10 furries in 10 seconds.
Well, dude,
You'll
a
find
lot
10
of
furries in 10
things
seconds.
existed back in the day. All right, people had homosexual relationships. There was trans people back in like thousands of years ago, right? But it's not the same as how it is today. Like this is well known.
Yeah. There's obviously a difference. People, it's so weird how people like justify like, well, I think the degeneration of society via porn is fine because there was like 2 furries back in the 1200s. Huh? What are you talking about? What do you mean? How is that a comparison at all? We're not speaking about just the concept existing in one anecdotal instance. We're speaking about it being completely normalized to the entirety of the fucking world. What does that even mean? Furries were all over the world in ancient times. That has to be, that's hilarious.
That's a cope. And maybe
There were only 10
self-report.
furries ever before 1950. True. So true.
Yeah.
Look at Egypt. They were furries. Furries in Egypt. What is this? Is this a real thing? What is this? Furries in Egypt. Oh, you mean because they would just like put on the cat suits or whatever? I think that was... I mean, I don't think
the
that's
fuck?
furries. That's not the same thing. It's like furries.
Someone just stole my fucking ride.
And also, even if it was, okay, this is what we're speaking about. I'm sure if there was like an extent of furries in Egypt, like let's think about it, they would dress up as a cat or something, or they'd put on their like headdress or whatever, and then they would just fuck, right? It wasn't like how porn presents sex, which is like humanoid dogs, like we said earlier, with like 10 cocks like coming everywhere. That's not the same thing. Just like putting on a suit and fucking historically is not the same thing as like the degeneracy that porn provides. Like, I don't think those are the same thing.
Nice.
Why 10 cocks? I don't know. That's like the freakiest fucking weird shit that happens. Like,
Yeah, we're just examples of like weird degenerate shit people like jerk off to nowadays, you know?
you're losing viewers. He went from like 305 to 299. It doesn't, who cares?
You're losing viewers! Shut up.
Imagine Mr. Girl just started randomly calling out Nick Fuentes on his visit. Oh my god. This is the worst wording of a decent conversation. There's no other way to word like the degeneracy that porn offers besides like speaking it directly about what it is.
Yeah, we're all adults here.
Also-
We can handle it. All chats like
okay.
kids.
No, but the point is, like, porn, all it does is it fucks up your dopamine receptors. It gives you a false idea of what sex is. It gives you a false idea of what intimate relationships are. It causes addiction. It wastes your time. People will spend hours a week on porn, masturbating. It wastes your time. It wastes your energy. And it also degenerates your mind. So the normalization of porn is terrible. Connor's an incel. Porn isn't sex. Porn isn't sex. You can't fucking compare being
It's
an
more
incel to not liking
defend
porn.
Yeah.
It's more incel to defend porn than to be against it. Porn ruins your sexual like motivations and your sexual desires. It ruins it. So if you're an incel, porn is awesome for you because you just keep fucking losing your ability to have sex.
How are you not fucking dead? There we go.
Yeah. Porn is freedom of speech rather than expression. Yeah, porn is freedom of expression for sure because there's no it's not like a idea being conveyed via porn. Or like a, let me say, like words being conveyed via porn. It's like it's expression. Incels usually have a warped fantasy due to porn. Yeah, it's usually due to porn. It's due to like internet. That's another thing. Remember how I was saying we're living in an internet age? Okay,
Yeah.
public forums where people like discuss sexual fantasies, like, would not exist back in the day. Like that concept did not even exist. The only time you could do that is if you wanted to talk about like your sexual fantasies to like your neighbor, and then you're just hoping that your neighbor shares that same sexual fantasy, and they wouldn't, right? Like they wouldn't. They'd probably just be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So for you to like continually like build up a sexual fantasy with like other people like on forums, that like never happened. Nowadays there's like porn forums, there's sex forums, there's weird incel forums where people talk about like fucking taking women and doing weird shit with them, and they all like bounce off of each other because they're people in random parts of the world that never would have interacted before, but just happen to come together from a shared interest and also like amplify it, right? So I think you're projecting, bro. Lol. Okay.
Yeah, you're projecting.
Good
You're a
one.
weird
let's
freak,
say,
dude.
Let's say theoretically, I'm completely projecting. This is all my own personal problems that I'm telling you guys. Am I wrong because of that? Like, does that invalidate my argument?
That strengthens it because you're an example.
It strengthens it because I can be like, yeah, this happens to me. So what the fuck are you talking about? I'm projecting, bro. You're fucking stupid. Even if you're, first of all, you're not. Even if you were right, it's like my argument is still completely valid. I mean, you're wrong. How? How is porn not degenerate your brain and fuck you up?
He's saying, well, I jerk off to porn sometimes and I'm not a degenerate. That's what he's probably saying.
How am I wrong? How does porn not fuck up your view of sex?
He's gonna say that, well, just because it's like, fuck, I can't explain this. He's saying like, if Fuck! I can't talk. Okay, I don't know.
A normal consumption of porn doesn't degenerate.
Yeah,
your brain.
exactly.
Well, we're not talking about a normal consumption of porn, and also we're not talking about like how porn would have been back in the day. We're talking about the normalization and the power to easily like fuck up your like expectation of sex. I'm in a great relationship and I use porn. I have an actual expectation when it comes to my sex life. You're an anecdotal instance. You're a completely anecdotal instance. That's not the general case for porn. The general case for porn is that there's a lot of people who are either lonely or who like maybe if I was jerking it like every week. Wait, how often do you jerk it? Jerking it every week. We're talking about.
Do you jerk it?
No. This is a genuine question because we're talking about people who masturbate to porn like 5 times a day, right? Like that's like the type of stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, like
3 to 5 times a day.
Oh
You're
my
saying
God,
you
that's
masturbate once a week? Are you trolling me? So you're not fucking talking about the same thing I'm talking about. You look at porn once a week and you're in a relationship. Are you dumb? No, I'm talking about people who like obsess over porn, and that happens all the time. 5 times a day, WTF? Yeah, people might be shocked by that. That is a real genuine thing. That happens to a lot of people. There's porn addiction where people will be
self-projecting.
No, I just looked into this because like I saw like a bunch of people like promoting like porn ruins your mind and fucks you up. This was like years ago. And I was like, huh, interesting. And there's a lot of people who would like post on forums and be like, yeah, like I struggle with porn addiction and I would masturbate like 5 times a day. I did it 10 times a day when I was 12. I mean, like, and you're underage too. Like minors are being exposed to this and masturbating that much. And that's what I mean. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like it ruins your mind. Who finds time to jerk it 5 times a day? People who waste their time with porn.
I mean, a jerk's only like what 20 minutes, 5 times a day. That's like a few hours. I mean, think about all the time
That's
we
like
spend
an hour
on Twitter or something.
That's an hour.
I probably spend like 2-3 hours a day on Twitter.
Instead of watching the stream, you just masturbate the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. The stream's going on for 3 hours.
Is this a safe question for Twitch? I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but it's a genuine discussion. I mean, it's like a real thing to like.
What do you mean?
Not degenerate your fucking mind.
Wait, we've had a million worse conversations in this stream alone. How would this one be the one that's too far for Twitch?
11-year-olds get addicted to porn now because of the internet. I mean, that's something that never would have happened.
Yeah, imagine
like
an 11-year-old like 30 years ago, like getting addicted to like sexual thoughts and stuff like that. Like what? That would never even come into the question back then, you know? Unless like their uncle was like fucking like jerking them off every day or something.
Like if they were being, like the only time something like that would happen is if there was some obvious like child trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
Not normal regular 11-year-olds. Like people will be like, well, there are instances of 11-year-olds like killing and raping their siblings or something. Well, no, I'm speaking about like just a total normie 11-year-old. A total normie 11-year-old that has no like childhood trauma or anything
or
can just go on the internet, or abuse or anything like that, can just go on the internet and be like exposed to insane amounts of pornography and fuck their brain up.
Right.
Why are you imagining 11-year-olds? You know what? Yeah, let's just never talk about minors being exposed to porn. That can just never be a discussion. Otherwise, it's weird that you're imagining 11-year-olds.
You sound like the people that Mr. Girl and Vito talk about. Mr. Girl and Vito are always like, we can never have conversation about pedophilia because everybody freaks out or something, right? But then they also say a bunch of weird shit that naturally makes people freak out. And then they're like, what? Why is everyone freaking out? Well, no, you sound like the people that Vito and Mr. Girl complain about. When you sit there and say, you can't have a conversation about this because it's a touchy subject. I mean, it's 11-year-olds and stuff. What? Yeah, this actually happens. Let's be grown-ups and talk about this.
Yeah, let's like prevent these people from doing that.
Yeah,
minors
exactly.
being exposed to porn is bad. Minors being exposed to porn is bad. It's a real thing that happens, and it's terrible.
Yeah. What my chat's putting Mr. Girl emotes in the chat. Nice. So I share an audience with them now.
Cool.
So I have people in my chat that
17-year-olds exposed to porn, the horror. Nice job just taking the argument and completely ignoring it. We're saying that there's 11-year-olds who get addicted to porn, and you're like, well, wow, a guy who's a week away from turning 18 watches porn. Oh my god, the horror. Nice job just completely ignoring what we just fucking said. You're trolling. You're completely trolling. That is just like the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
Why are people get so defensive over porn?
I don't know. Well, because a lot of people are addicted to it and they're coping. They don't want to admit that they're either addicted or that there's anything without moderation is bad, though. But you're not wrong. Yeah, anything without moderation is bad. So the internet gives you unfettered access to porn, no moderation. You're a child, you're underage, and you can just instantly access it. Do you know the only thing stopping children from watching porn? Saying that they're 18. That's it, right? They just have to lie about their age. So generations are getting fucked up. Porn needs to be banned. Literally, who cares? You're just terrible. We should all just waste our lives away masturbating to porn instead. That's how we should live our lives.
Do you think it's possible to consume porn in moderation and not have it like fuck up your life or even like affect your ability to like have a relationship? What do you think about that?
Maybe, I mean, this would obviously be a theoretical because it could never happen, but maybe if the internet never promoted porn or it never happened on the internet and it was exclusively like how it was in the day, like magazines or something, I'm sure that'd be fine. That'd be enough to get people
Yeah, but
off.
what if a guy's like, once a week I boot up Pornhub and like jerk off? I don't really think this like affects.
Well, that's what that guy said in the chat. Right. He's like, well, I do it once a week, but that's like an anecdotal instance. That's not like the problem that I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
The problem that I'm speaking about is is a very large problem. Like, let me actually look it up. You know that, like, oh yeah, this is actually true. This is a fact. 35% of all internet downloads are related to porn. Over a third of what people do on the internet in general is pornography. Mm-hmm. And then people on the chat are like, what? People masturbate 5 times a day? Yeah, a third of internet consumption is fucking porn. Of course people masturbate fucking 5 times a day.
That's an insane amount.
That's a lot. That is a ton of porn. That's a third of someone's time. Like if someone spends 12 hours a day on the internet.
That's 4 hours they're jerking.
4 hours is porn. I'll get the tech vid job. No, it didn't. You're lying.
I don't give a fuck. I'm talking about porn.
Good one. So, yeah. And 5% of men self-diagnose as porn addicts. That's just self-diagnosis. 5% of men. 5 out of 100 men. There's more people who would not self-diagnose themselves. There's more people who would cope and be like, I'm not addicted. Like, how many people do you think self-diagnose as addicts? Not a lot. So, there's definitely more than 5%. I'd assume maybe 15% of the population of men is addicted to porn, which is an insane amount. I mean, 15% of just the US is like what? I mean, how much would that be? I mean, that's like millions of people ruined.
Technicals defended Zero because he watched too much porn.
Okay, Connor, we believe you. Stop. Yeah, exactly. I'm right. Almost everyone in the chat before was like, that doesn't make any sense. You're just wrong. Why would that happen? And now that you're actually seeing the stats, now that you're actually seeing how true it is and how much it actually affects people, you're like, no, don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's so gross. I don't want to hear about it. Yeah, this is true, and you should actively be against it.
Just taking fat shits on chat.
If they try banning porn now, illegal porn will go up by a bunch. You know they are taking efforts to ban porn. Like the App Store, the Apple App Store doesn't allow anything. Like Tumblr was getting fucked by the App Store. Discord, you're not allowed to go have like pornographic Discord servers anymore. If you try to launch like a pornographic Discord, it blocks you. You can't even watch it. So you can't even like open it on the mobile app store. So like Apple has taken some steps to like stop porn.
But what they're doing that, no, but they're doing that not because of like the morality of porn. They just don't want to deal with child porn getting fucking uploaded to their services.
I mean, if that's the motivation for it, then sure, that's great too.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a pretty good reason too.
Yeah. I mean, whatever stops porn addiction.
But they're not doing it because of addiction. They're just doing it. They just don't want to deal with like the fucking ramifications of having like a shit. Because that's what happened on Pornhub. A bunch of child porn, like rape, got uploaded to the website, and they couldn't moderate it, and then they had to like delete all the non-verified content.
Connor, you have to go into your settings in Discord desktop to have it so you can go to an NSFW channel and Discord iOS app. I'm not talking about an NSFW channel. There are NSFW servers. There are like entire servers dedicated to porn. Like there's like porn servers, and if you launch it on your iOS phone, it will not let you. It will just say this is not allowed from the iOS like iOS like App Store or whatever.
I didn't know that.
How is banning porn not censorship? It's freedom of expression, not speech. It's expression. There's a difference between expression and speech. I'm fine
They're
with
not making
expression.
like points in porn. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
no
fine with
social
expression.
commentary porn that's like, well, I mean, maybe that exists. I don't know, but that would just be really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares? Porn is lame. True. Never watch it. Don't get addicted to it.
All right, how often do you watch it, Connor? Now you've lectured the chat.
I mean, I watch it a reasonable amount, but I know that it's very easy to get addicted to. I mean, we even have personal friends who've like been addicted to it. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it is. We've had personal friends who've been like, yeah, like
It's
I
been.
had. It's not. You're dumb.
Just fuck them over.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Flamenco? No, we're talking about fucking IRL people that you don't even know, chat.
Yeah, like our people you guys don't even know that have been like, yeah, I was addicted to porn and I wanted to stop it.
It's
So. I haven't in a while though, I'll say that. But yeah.
me. Oh, I wonder why.
I haven't needed to in a little while. I'll say that.
Good
I haven't
one.
needed a watch.
Oh my god.
Haven't needed a watch. I can just yeah.
She has like the gun right up to your head right now. He's like, yeah, it's been a while.
No, actually no, I haven't.
Oh my god.
It's so much better when you don't. Life is just so much better when you don't. So
Same with fast food. Speaking of which, I'm getting hungry.
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I'm getting,
I have an IR friend who's addicted to porn. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, and like I said, only 5% of people self-diagnose as addicted. There's a lot more people who are addicted who either don't know they're addicted or is coping.
a lot of people cope.
Yeah.
Trust me, like, nobody wants to be known as like a fucking addict.
So yeah, no one like willingly self-outs, or not like no one, but very few people willingly self-out themselves. It's a lot bigger problem than
People
people
say that like the first like major step of like overcoming a problem is even acknowledging that you have one. Why is that even a step? Shouldn't everybody be able to acknowledge when they have one instantly? Well, for a lot of people, that's not just a simple like, you know, it's not just like a lot of people can't just go, I have a problem and I need to fix this. A lot of people are like, what? I don't have a problem. I'm fine. I
This
can
is
see what-
normal.
Yeah, this is fine. You know? Because why would you want to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I have a fucking problem? Nobody wants to admit that because then it looks bad on them.
There's a staff member in your chat, says Froggy. Oh my god.
Yo, there is.
Is there actually?
Shout out to the staff. We love the staff.
Or some people definitely promoted, like, reported because we're speaking about like pornography. They're probably malding. We're saying we're anti-porn, so they're like,
Yeah.
guys, watch the stream right now. Take the stream off the air.
Oh my god.
But no, we're spoken completely in TOS. We're just speaking anti-porn addiction. We don't want our future to be addicted to porn. That's it. We love the staff. Yeah, exactly.
That's the first time I've seen staff in chat, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
They popped in Nick's chat one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they
But
do
that
it
was
for
like-
fun? Or
That was like
is
the
it
day
because
they popped it in Nick's chat, like the day he became a partner. So for that, I'm like, maybe they're just like checking, like, all right, let's see who our new partner is, and just check for a second, see what they're doing.
Yeah,
Make sure we didn't like make a mistake, you know,
right.
in partnering some insane person, or like a bot or something. because Twitch has been having a big problem partnering bots lately.
Oh my god. You're the staff's gonna bother you. He's gonna be like, fuck you. We don't have a problem.
Yeah, Twitch has been fucking up majorly recently. And staff's just like, huh?
No, we haven't. Fuck off.
Oh my god. I'm like, oh, we love Twitch here. Accidentally starts criticizing them.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Starts. All right, play copyrighted music.
Oh my god. All right, time to watch anime.
Yeah.
I played so much fucking Halo recently that I think I've like become like insane. I don't know.
Your mind has been degenerated by Halo.
Yeah, dude. I streamed Halo for like 8 hours this day. I'm like hour 3 into this stream. I don't know why I've
Streaming
become
Halo.
such a fucking. I've literally become. I don't know what happened, but yesterday I became like a fucking addict to streaming or something.
Yeah, you're just streaming all day, every day.
Like my dopamine. It unironically though, my dopamine receptors were like fucking like off the wall yesterday. I was every time I'd see the hour go up, I'd be like, oh, that feels so good. Another one. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've never like felt like this before. Maybe it's because of all the porn. It fucked up my. Oh my god.
3 hours spent not watching porn.
Oh
Great job.
my god. But that wouldn't make any sense. My dopamine receptors would want me to watch more fucking porn, not be away from it. Like what?
Yeah.
The more Augie streams, the less degenerate porn I watch.
Wait, no, the less porn that degenerates watch.
Oh.
Dude, you're saving people from it.
Yeah, people are like, do I watch like 20 like Fuda cocks go up my ass, or do I watch Augie?
And they pick you. Dude, you're saving fucking people from porn addiction.
And then they listen to us talk about why degenerate porn is bad, and they're like, oh, wow.
I guess I have a problem. So acknowledge you have a problem, and that's how you solve it.
Yeah, exactly.